end here as an intro. Anyway, this is Papantla, and I'm here to learn about a local currency called Tumin that was actually created in an area called Espinal, which I don't think it's that far from here. That's what brought me here, but while I was here, I was able to really check out some really cool culture, and the people were fantastic here. I did not feel unsafe whatsoever, which is something that, you know, sometimes you'll run into when you're in the big cities. So definitely you'll want to see what I found out here and come and check out Papantla if you ever get the chance. You will not regret it.
Town square here eating some sort of traditional soup. I got in way too late last night. Well, not way too late. I caught the very tail end of some big fiesta that was right here in the center square. But yeah, by the time I got a room, it was definitely over with. So this is pretty cool. Check it out. And this little thing here is just like the one in La Paz. But it looks like something's fixing to happen. A whole 2 blocks, and about the third person I asked, I got me some Tumin. This is the local currency that they've created that matches the peso. So I came here to find the guy who's in charge of the project Tumin, so that we can get him to Acapulco. He's going to meet me in about an hour, so it didn't take very long to find somebody who's using it. And apparently there are quite a few people here in town that are actually using it. I asked the hotel restaurant and one street vendor. They both said no, but I went to one of the little, I guess, market areas where a lot of different people gather and sell their wares, like shirts and, you know, the trinkets and stuff that are, you know, the gimmicky touristy trinkets, and they all were accepting it. So I'm excited to find out more about this.
So these are the voladores, or the Papantla flyers. We call them the Papantla High Flyers. And it's a local Indian, or indigenous. I can tell you it is way up there. It's like it's got to be 100 feet or so. Day one is in the bag here in Papantla. And they are still partying down here on the square, so let's take a walk on through. I am on my way out of Papantla, and I'm heading over to the pyramid El Tajín. And this pyramid belongs to the Totonaca Indians around here, or indigenous. Some people are offended by the word Indian, so I don't know. Yeah, I just got through having an interview with a guy who created the local currency, which is not used very widely, but they do use it, and it gives a percentage discount to the businesses. It's called Tumin. It's been around for 12 years. Anyway, it was a really interesting talk. A guy named Juan Castro. You could probably find other stuff on YouTube and whatnot about that. He doesn't have a website, but I'm working to bring his project into the digital age and create a digital currency for him.
There. This started as a project with University Veracruz,
Veracruzana.
Veracruzana, and Juan was a professor there, I think a human rights professor, and they came up with the idea about creating their own currency. So tell me how this got started at the university.
We started with the students and the graduated students also, the teachers and the producers and merchants from the community. Yeah. And we agreed to design a new money, on paper, and to accept at least 10% in the payments with this local currency.
I just got extorted for 30 pesos. Basically, they're charging you to enter the area. Should just go. I mean, this would really have the right to stop you. There's the Papantla Flyers, which I seen them yesterday downtown. So I'm just more interested in going to see the pyramid. I don't know if you can hear the whistle in the background. That's the Papantla Flyers doing their little ritual thing. Ahead is the archaeological site. This is the pyramid. They took my tripod from me and asked me not to use camera equipment, but I was able to keep my phone, so I'll film with that. Yeah, these are pretty cool. Kind of reminds me of the Watchman-Tony ones. Really entering into this without enough information to be talking about it. But I think some of these, like this one here, and those, I believe it's where they have they would give speeches and stuff, or and that's after going to Watchman Tony's, that's what they said, is they would have larger speeches at the larger ones, and people who were less popular would give their speech at a smaller one. And I don't know for sure if that's what the case is here. And then when I went to Teotihuacan, they said that these pyramids would have a wooden structure on top of them where the priest would live, and he would be like the main one that would be giving these speeches. But again, these are my assumptions just from going to other archaeological sites. Really. One of the cool things about these smaller archaeological sites like this is you're not like bombarded with the sales of trinkets and stuff like that. I mean, they had a couple of guys at the entrance and a bunch of like little trinket stands and stuff down there. But when I was at Teotihuacan, it's like they were everywhere, just kind of hounding you and stuff. So it's nice that this is a small enough attraction that they're not doing that. Of course, you can't fault people for doing that. I mean, that's their hustle. That's how they're making money. But I just don't need those things. So there's a guide behind me. And from what I gather on my limited Spanish, he's explaining the different layers, which is something that I did learn from Teotihuacan, is that generations would build another pyramid over the top of an existing pyramid to, I guess, make their dynasty or whatever appear more grand than the one before it. And some of them had just, multiple layers of different civilizations that built the bigger and bigger pyramid. And from what I think that guy was explaining, he said there was 18 different levels on that one back there. My assumption. Notice the steep steps. I don't know if it's true or not, but I was told in other pyramids that when they're steep like that, it's like a sign of submission, because you have to crawl up the steps, and it's normally sacrifice or whatever at the top. But according to them, not all of the temples had anything to do with sacrifice. You can see here remnants of one. I would assume that under this mountain here, big ass hill, whatever you want to call it, is also an unexcavated pyramid as well. And then there's this. It goes way down that way, but I wanted to get a look inside. See what it really is. Huh. Not sure, other than interesting. And there's the other side. It goes for quite a ways. I don't know what to make of it. Okay, so this I definitely recognize from other archaeological sites. It's basically a soccer field. Well, that's a wrap for El Tajín, and I gotta say it's pretty impressive, for sure. Really interesting stuff. This is 20 minutes drive from Papantla. Tajín is the little town that it's in, and there is another name for the pyramid. The indigenous that were here, the Totonaca. Well, that was interesting, definitely. And now I'm on the way back to Papantla. Unfortunately, I fell and busted my ass in some mud, and then on the way out, one of the trinket sellers was laughing at me behind my back, as if I didn't know what they were saying. Oh well, it's still fun. go here. It seems like I came from that way, but this one looks like it goes to Central. I'm gonna go Centro. Hopefully I end up in the right place. Interesting how these towns are laid out. They just kind of go with the flow. There was definitely no central planning involved. Kind of flying blind on this. I don't really know exactly where. I'm just assuming this goes in the general direction. When I see the church, I'm sure I'll be able to figure it out from there. More one way. Dang it, I had the camera off. There was one of the manhole covers I talked about back there. Yeah, something like that, only there was nothing in it but a tire. Like, not even with a rim, just a tire. Yeah, what a cluster. I was definitely going the wrong way. Alright. And this looks like it might get me there. Oh, where I was before. I got impatient and went to the right instead of the left. Yeah, one thing for sure, the efficiency wasn't in mind. So my hotel's about a block from here, but I gotta go like 5 blocks to get there. Right on the other side of that square is my hotel. I gotta go way down here, hang a right, and then go up a hill and loop around. That's my hotel over there. Hotel Tahin. Loop around. To this art university behind me and was shown around, and I got to talk to one of the, I guess, professors, historians in there, and she told me a lot about it. But I was really honored to actually get invited in, because I didn't ask to go in. They said, "Hey, Weddle, come here," and then they invited me in and showed me around and asked questions about Tumin and things like that. So it was actually, they recognized my bike. When there's a gringo in town with a big Yamaha Super Tenere, everybody knows that the gringo is here. So anyway, that's why I got invited. The guy I came to interview about Tumin, his wife actually works in here, so she had put told the other people inside, yeah, I know that guy, and I got invited in. So that's how I ended up inside the university, learning more about the rituals around here, especially the Papantla flyers, boladores. So it was really interesting information to learn about that, about how the boladores are actually, it's a ritual, and there's 4 boladores that are flying around, and each one of them represents one of the 4 elements. So it's kind of a ritual to connect heaven to earth and paid tribute to the bounty that they got for their crops and all that. You know, the typical thing. There is an animal sacrifice originally that was part of this ritual, but the rituals that I seen the other day, you know, the Bulladores show, there were no animals involved. So now I guess they've toned that down to be more acceptable. But it's amazing how many people here in Mexico don't actually know the rituals. It's amazing. Everywhere I go, I meet Mexicans and I tell them about other parts of Mexico, and they're like, "Really? I didn't know that. Why do you know more about my country than I do?" So, which I know very little, but I am fortunate enough to be able to travel around and see the different things. So, getting my laundry done, and I just happened to be across the street from the university, the same one that Juan Carlos goes to, or was a teacher at, and they invited me in to look at the museum. It's pretty cool. Check this out. A lot of local culture. Like this is a wooden carving of the high flyers, which is apparently a ritual that comes from the Totonaca indigenous, and who occupied El Tajín. Pretty cool. It's not huge, but the works are really great. A lot of it looks like wood carving, and some of it may be bronze. So I've wandered into the highest restaurant? Anyway, highest restaurant in town overlooking the square. It's pretty cool. There's the pole right up there that the flyers do their little thing from. I kind of expected the prices to be as high as this building. You know, usually when you have a good view like this, a higher price comes with it, but I'm getting a pretty decent meal, what it looks like, at a decent price, only 180 pesos. So, and Victoria, no tecate. That's my time in Baja was a pain in the ass because I could only find tecate in a lot of places. So, and that was a similar issue in Monterey. So, to come here and be able to find Pacifico and Victoria and non-tecate products is a plus for me. But anyway, this place down here last night was really bumping. They had you know, a band down there and a lot more people. But pretty cool. All right, so that's a wrap on Papantla. Heading on to my next location, which is Tlamaca, which is not really a town. It's just a little neighborhood kind of on the west side of the Popocatépetl volcano. I want to do a little investigation. I've always wanted to climb this volcano. I don't know if I'll get that chance while I'm there because I do need to get on to Acapulco pretty quick, but I'll at least be able to scope it out and see if it is doable. I think it's illegal, but so was going to the Colima volcano during COVID, and I was able to pay my way around that. But anyway, that's the next journey. This has been really eye-opening here. I love this place. I will definitely put it on the list to return to. This definitely. The city is Papantla, Veracruz, Mexico. It is awesome, rich in culture, and there are some pyramids nearby, so